Democracy gives everyone the rights of expression, a passage to a world of freedom, a world that is free, that is fair, equitable, and that is just. But indeed, how just, fair, and equitable is democracy to the people? How economically free are the people in a world of globalization? Join the discussion, have your say here, live on Bentv Television on News Punch. Thank you for joining us on the program. This is Voice coming to you here on Bentv Television. My name is Tunde Alabia. As usual, I've got my guest in the studio, Jennifer Obaseki. Jennifer Obaseki is a senior partner at Obaseki Solicitors here in London. On the program today, we'll be taking a look at updates on immigration. Of course, as you know, at a time like this, there will be developments on immigration matters, either increasing fees or immigration statements from the Secretary of State, or the other issues that may affect your immigration matters in the United Kingdom. So on this show, we look at this issue plus other legal matters that may be of concern to you here in the United Kingdom. Could be civil or criminal matter, could be property, and as far as it's legal matters, that's what we'll take a look at on the show. And Jennifer Obaseki has been on this show giving our community the basic advice, what you need to know if you've been watching this program and if you're concerned about legal matters in the United Kingdom. My name is Tunde Alabi. One more time, my guest Jennifer Obaseki. On the show today, as Britain prepares to finally visit the European Union, what should you be considering as either an immigrant or you are resident in the United Kingdom as European citizen, exercising your treaty right, or we consider other updates that may affect you if you're a British citizen, you work in the parts of European countries, or you are EU working in the United Kingdom, or even you are into businesses and you bring in labor workers from other European countries into your work. How would this Brexit constitution affect you? What laws would change? What are the things that may impact on you? Follow us on this program. Talk us through what has changed or what will be changing in a couple of days, months, as Britain consider finally leaving the European Union.
Well, we've had so many announcements as to things being nearly ready and a deal nearly being done. But what has been confirmed by Theresa May is that, child, then you should try and do it under the EU rules, which will enable you pay the £65 application. But don't forget, because Britain is leaving the EU, number one, it's going to be abolished from March. There hasn't been clarity on it. So in my mind, I'm just thinking they haven't spoken about it. So let's just try and make sure anybody who can't afford the usual FLR applications, but you're caring for somebody that is a European national or British, then you might be able to make this application at the cheaper rate. But what you have to remember is it doesn't always lead to you getting indefinite leave to remain. You have to remember it may also preclude you from claiming some certain benefits. So essential again that you get some comprehensive advice on your situation, but do it quickly because time is fast running out.
Right, let's go back a little bit backward to, let's go back a little bit to immigrants that are in the United Kingdom. They have overstayed their time. Before now, it used to be 14 years for long residency application. Now it's moved to 20 years. But it appears to be a very difficult order for people to cross 20 years waiting time. Are there rules outside the immigration rules that people who have been in the United Kingdom 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years, 15 years can latch on to
it does also depend on your age. If you spent over half of your life here and you're under the age of 30, though the rules say 25 or whatever it is, the fact is if you can show that you would suffer so adversely, or your situation is so exceptional that even if you kind of are a few years out, that there should be due consideration to your case, that then you can take advice, especially on the level of evidence you have before putting in an application. But if you're shy of the 20 years, which is what you're asking, if you're completely shy of it by more than 5 years, then again, if the country you're coming from is unstable, or you're going to suffer some harm if you're going to be returned, if you're at risk from a form of harmful traditional practice, whether it's forced marriage, whether it's a land rights issue, you go and explain this to your lawyer so your lawyer knows how best to put in an application for you. There are some people that are from certain parts of South America and the Caribbean that if they go back because of their history, gang affiliation, they are at particular risk of immediate harm if they go back. So for some people like that, they might not be hitting 20 years, but because of the connections, they might have to claim asylum. They might have to claim a form of humanitarian protection. So if you're shy of the 20 years, then get advice. You may be coming from a place that's politically turbulent, that where you go, if you go back because of previous political connections or current political climate, it will not be safe for you. So again, it's about taking proper and comprehensive advice.
Taking proper and comprehensive advice. Let's quickly go back to the kind of advice people get from lawyers, from solicitors when they approach them with their immigration matters. Look, I've been in this country 10 years, so can you do for me? What are my prospects? What can I do? And you said, lawyer said, oh, alright, we can put an application for you on ground of human rights.
That's a common one.
We can put application for you on, well, have you had history of domestic violence?
Leave it to me, I will package it.
Or just leave it. What can you say to people to properly consider before they part with their hard and money?
We have said it again very repeatedly. Number one, you've got to make sure the person you're going to is experienced and qualified. There is no point you going to somebody who suddenly thinks that it's an interesting area and they're going to start doing it tomorrow. No, you need to go to somebody that is experienced, seasoned, has seen different types of cases. So you're going to look for somebody who's noted as a specialist in this area, or noted as qualified under the office of the immigration supervisor, the OISC way of qualifying. But solicitors who are qualified, you go to the Law Society's website, you see their areas of specialism. Secondly, you make sure the person has insurance and is working in an office. Don't just go to somebody that is casually either in your church or your mosque. Why? Because this is a professional and formal enterprise. You must not be speaking to somebody that's not in a confidential area, that doesn't comply with GDPR, that's not registered with the Information Commissioner's Office. You must be doing this in a proper way, and so that your work, that the documents you give people is covered by the requisite level of insurance and covered by the requisite correct professional practices. Thirdly, you have to also make sure that you get a proper letter of engagement, a letter that outlines what you have said and what you've been advised, and how long and how much this, let's say, case is going to cost. You have to have defined routes of advice, okay? It's not a buffet. I can either do human rights, I can either do this or do that for you. Sometimes cases do have different routes, don't get me wrong, but if somebody is saying to you, I'm going to make an application for you, number one, you need to know the application that's being made, how you qualify for that application, whether you meet the criteria. There is no point somebody making an application for you if you do not meet the criteria. It means that you're giving them 1,000 plus 533, or when the money goes up, it'll be £2,033 to make an application for you which you will not qualify for. That's really, really not wise. Secondly, you have to also think about your full options. Some people don't think about returning home. And I know the political climate in some countries is unstable, but if you think about that amount of money, and you think about maybe adding to it the money that you can get from the Home Office if you're leaving voluntarily, then you may have close to £4,000 or more in order to establish yourself back home. Some people say, oh, that's not a lot of money, but it can go towards a rental deposit, it can go towards getting a particular machine to help you start a business. Is it better than staying here with no ability to work and also being landlocked, no ability to travel for years and years, only to be detained and removed? The other thing that we've seen is the rate at which people are removed is very fast. You know, there is an agreement between countries on really an understanding when people are being removed administratively and the notice that needs to be given. So within almost 3 days of you being detained, you should be given notification if you're being administratively removed, meaning that you've exhausted all of your appeal options, you have no outstanding applications or representations, and then the UK government can remove you. So they can give you notification of the airport you're going to within 24 hours. But the thing is, the process happens so fast, and I always say to people, you want to be in control of how your story ends. So why not take control of that? If you know you've exhausted all of your options and you've been to a lawyer and they've said, look, if you don't qualify for these applications, I don't want to have to take £2,000 from you to get you nothing, then why not take control of your destiny by arranging your travel certificate and leaving voluntarily, knowing that you can try and come back at a later date when you've actually managed to stable yourself in another country or in your country of origin. Don't downtrod it as a non-option when it could be the most viable option and a way for you to maintain control of your life. It can be a very stressful process also. There has been news in the press about people being wrongfully detained, and yes, if you have outstanding submissions to the Home Office and they detain you and you have merit in your outstanding applications, it can be determined that your detention is wrong. If also you are mistaken, excuse me, sometimes the Home Office mistakes people's identity or don't believe that maybe they're European nationals and have detained them. If you've been in this situation, very important you get very good advice, because you can get compensation for wrongfully being detained, and it is quite a lot of compensation. The last thing I wanted to speak to people about today is the actual processing of applications. There is a very intense level of interviewing that's going to be going on. And this is because the Home Office have concentrated this year on dealing with the cycle of EU applications for residents that have come in because of the fact that we're going to be leaving the EU. But the applications such as asylum and other applications that are not so straightforward have kind of sat on the back burner and not really been assessed and processed as quickly, especially asylum applications. And then EU dependency applications where the Home Office is not sure of the relationship. They are also calling for interview at Liverpool. Now, asylum interviews, some are being asked to be done to camera, not in front of human beings. If you have an immigration interview, number one, make sure that you go to your lawyer in order to prepare you for what you're about to go through. You're going to be asked questions about your case. The person that's interviewing you, if you meet a human being, is going to want to know your history, check that the facts are correct, check that it's still not safe for you to go back if it's asylum, and things like that. But if it's on camera, it's important, because you may not be prompted, for you to actually try to remember to say the important things. So if you're given a headset and people are asking you questions in your ear, it's not a very usual process. So people may be a bit daunted, a bit thrown by such activity. So it's important that your lawyers prepare you for interviews. Same as couples that are going for interviews because maybe they feel that there's uncertainty or there's conflict in their or in the application, something's not clear. Some of the questions that are asked are very, very unsettling. For example, do you remember what side of the bed you got out of this morning? They might ask the wife, what side of the bed does your husband sleep on? Ask the husband, what side of the wife? What did you have for dinner yesterday? What size of shoes is your husband? Things like that we take as common play. And honestly, in different cultures, it's not really common questions that a wife may or a husband may even know the answer to. So again, preparing for interviews is essential, whether it's an interview with a person or an interview to camera. And as I've said, if you're being asked questions about why you can't go back to a country, and maybe your application has been sitting in the Home Office for 4 years, 3 years, and the Home Office is trying to ascertain whether there's still a risk presented to you, why should you still be, at fear of going back? It's important that you look up the current situation, maybe find new evidence or current evidence to show risk. But either way, get prepared.
I think we're running out of time, but let me ask you this question just in 2 minutes. If somebody has been in this country between 10 and 15 years and all of a sudden receives, having exhausted all legal routes, and then receives a letter to be administratively removed, and you've been in the country 12, 13 years, is that justified? Will the removal be justified?
Obviously,
can it be challenged? You've been away from your home country.
Yes, it's not 20 years, but you have to make representation.
Even the High Commission of the receiving country accept such a removal?
Well, the number one, the embassy has to check whether that is truly a citizen of their country. Number two, they have to usually they make an interview as to whether to assess that person as one, a national of their country, and two, whether to honour the Home Office's request to issue a travel warrant. And the issue is, most embassies that are good will try to ask their national, have you exhausted your rights of appeal? Is there any situation? But some national embassies are not that good and may not ask these pertinent questions. The fact is, if you are here in the UK, you're undocumented because of delay, because your case has been refused historically, and you are receiving correspondence from the Home Office, get advice. You may need to put in some fresh submissions, whether it's to do with your relationships with people, with children. Maybe the Home Office records are not up to date. So it's very, very key that you get some submissions in to try and help this out.
Right.
When you're looking for a solicitor to deal with your case, you don't just look for any solicitor, you look for the right solicitor. An expert who knows what he's doing can deal with your case the right way, achieving the best results. Hobaski Solicitors has more than 100 years of specialist experience serving the local community in immigration law, property law, human rights legislation, civil and criminal litigation, family law, employment law, Sharia law, business law, maritime and commercial law, providing professional legal services globally in Africa, Asia and Europe. Be assured we'll be able to deal with your case the absolute right way with results. So, contact us today by phone on 020 7739 7549 or go online at www.legalpal.com.
There's been recent news about Home Office officials being called into social services in order to sit on interviews with families. So this is in situations where families approach social services for assistance, might be housing assistance, financial assistance, because at the moment there are some families that fall into social services because of children or domestic violence, other issues that they may be facing. And then there's people who may fall under NAS because they have claimed asylum, and there's a lot of confusion at the moment. But when people are approaching the government now, they are actually now being, the Home Office is being called in order to sit in and also listen to the assessments of those families. This is a new development. What was supposed to happen was when families were due to be removed, they were supposed to sit on and be assessed by panels to assist them in exiting the country and provide them with support that they may need. So vulnerable children, people with special needs. But because there's been delay in that process, their Home Office is now actually being called in to sit on interviews with family members.
Right.
Be straightforward when you are in this situation, but do also get advice, because they may be looking to see if you contradict yourself, and also seeing if there is no merit in your immigration case, how to help you leave the country in a quicker fashion.
Get advice, that's the main thing. Whatever your situation is, whatever situation you find yourself, get advice. Before you do anything, speak to a lawyer, get advice. You may speak to Citizens Advice Bureau, or you might go online and check out qualified solicitor, or you probably you want to call us on this program for a piece of advice. You might be able to offer some assistance, some advice, or you've got questions as to what this program has been all about. The phone number to text or email or call is there. You've got questions you want to ask us about what has been done today. But the most important thing here is in what situation you find yourself, do speak with a qualified solicitor. Yeah, my name is Tunde Labi. It's been a pleasure joining you on the program today. Jennifer, thank you for coming on the show again today.
My pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Democracy gives everyone the rights of expression, a passage to a world of freedom, a world that is free, that is fair, equitable, and that is just. But indeed, how just, fair, and equitable is democracy to the people? How economically free are the people in a world of globalization? Join the discussion, have your say here, live on Bentv on News Punch.